Hello there, and good evening. This is Foti, an Orthodox Christian with a USB mic, and I actually want to start this video off by talking about the game itself, Pokemon, if you can believe it. No politics or religion or anything like that. Let's just talk about Pokemon. So I've been really happy with this deck that I put together, and I just call it Mushrooms and Onions because this deck uses Shiinotic along with Celebi EX as the primary win cons. So I tried a few other, permutations of Celebi EX. I tried with the new Executor. I tried with using Lilligant to add Grass Energy to Celebi EX and just beef that up. I tried a few other things, but none of them were really that good, and they made me very frustrated to play with. But then I found Shiinotic. So Shiinotic, for those who don't know, is it evolves from Morelull, so it's a stage 1 evolution. So it's not bad. It's got a 50 base attack, which also has a secondary effect of putting the opposing Pokemon to sleep. So 2 energy, 50 attack with sleep, which is pretty busted in this game. Much like in the video game, sleep is a pretty broken mechanic. And many people I found out don't actually know how sleep works. You can't retreat, you can't attack. The only thing you can do is use your ability if you have one. But yeah, for the most part, like you can just kind of like stonewall your opponent's Pokemon, and then you can finish up with Celebi potentially, or even just win with Shiinotic, as we might see here. So it's funny. I initially did not care for the deck because of all the RNG, all the investment you put into Celebi, which was very pretty wasteful. Right? You might put like 6 energies on the Celebi, and you still might get bad luck, or you just put the 6 energies because you're afraid you might not get the coin flips if the RNG doesn't go your way. In this case, it's not as wasteful with Shiinotic because Shiinotic only needs a 2 energy, and if you have a Serperior, you just need 1 energy to use it, and then you can put the rest on second Shiinotic or second Celebi. So it kind of gives you more turns while also potentially cheesing a win here and there. So I kind of like embraced the RNG more than running away from it, because if you're using Celebi EX, you're um, kind of beholden to relying on RNG in some aspect. And also, it's a card game, so and there's coin flips and stuff. So RNG is kind of you know a part of the game. So I chose to stop running and just accept it. All right, that's the Pokemon talk for now. Let's talk about something else. So today I wanted to talk about food, I guess, because this tea makes me hungry. The mushrooms and onions. Um, so in the Orthodox Church, and I'm sure other faiths as well, there are fasts. That's where we abstain from certain foods on certain days. So generally, most Wednesdays and Fridays of the year are fasting days, and these are days where we abstain from a variety of things. So everyone's different. Some people do the really strict fast, so that means no meat, no um, olive oil, even no alcohol, no fish, things like that. That's a hard fast or a strict fast. I myself, I don't go like full vegan like some do. I'll have like cheese usually on Fridays. It's kind of like my pizza day, but I just have the plain pizza. I don't have it with meat or anything, and that's just how I do it. But I try my best, and also for those that know me in real life, this is kind of hard for me the fast because most of my life I've been underweight, and when I was going through my anxiety and depression and other stuff, I lost a lot of weight, which I didn't really have much weight to lose. So I was very unhealthy for a time, and both mentally and physically and emotionally. And I remember when I first started attending church, we'd occasionally have like a priest that would visit and help during certain services or liturgies. And I remember talking to him, and he told me that, oh no, like you're skinny, you should eat, like, you shouldn't fast. So I think the big thing is that I'm saying all this to say that sometimes we do things that are in the name of tradition, or we think are fully observing of our faith or beliefs or whatever, when really, like, if they don't serve us, we should reconsider why we're doing them. So let's say you're pregnant, right? You're a pregnant mother. It may not make sense to fast, do a strict fast, especially I was referring to only the Wednesdays and Friday of each week, but we have longer fasts. Like we just had the nativity fast, which was over a month of pretty much strict fasting. And then when Easter or Pascha comes around, there's a fast for that. And that's also I think it's the longest fast of the year, actually, of strict fasting with very little openings in between or throughout it. So if someone's pregnant, that could be extremely difficult during these times. So it does not serve us well uh, to limit the food we eat in those cases. Now, if you're unaware, um, in the New Testament, there's much said about the Pharisees. So the sect of Jews that took basically the letter of the law, like meaning the actual words of the law, rather than the spirit of the law, in assessing you know people and what they should do and stuff. So if you follow the letter of the law, you just fast. You don't question why you're fasting. You just do it. But that kind of defeats the purpose. Like, why are you doing something just because it's tradition if you don't understand the tradition, or why are you even doing it if it doesn't help you? Like, if you're doing something that's actively hurting you, right? I would feel that that's something you should reconsider. And as Christians in general, I would hope that we all believe or understand that, our God is loving. So I don't think he would want us to suffer when we don't need to suffer. And also, another aspect of fasting is, well, it doesn't have to be food. You can fast from things that could be behaviors, they could be vices. There's many different things that you can do to act as a fast in place of food. I mean, if you think about it, like someone could already be like vegan and enter the Orthodox Church, and like, oh, fasting, oh, it's easy. I already don't eat these foods. But then that person, maybe they do, like, I don't know, recreational drugs, or you know some other type of behavior or act that may seem immoral, or at least not jive with the Orthodox ethos or whatever. Or another example, someone's trying to lose weight, so they use a fast as an excuse to lose weight. It's like, well, is that really helping them, or is that just giving them permission to starve themselves? These are like edge cases, but they point to examples of how the fast, just taken as just something to do, as just like a law, which is not, they can be harmful and not really serve their purpose. So the fast, much like scripture and the morality given in the Bible, is meant to help people. It's meant to help us. And if it's not helping us, it's hurting us. And then we need to reconsider, why we're doing it, as I said. So, that's just how I feel about fast, and that's what I've been told by both my priest, my spiritual father, and basically everyone that I've talked to, like in my personal and church life. And I know people that don't really fast, and like food wise fast, and they're some of the that kindest people that I know. Like, you could be a miserable person and just having to fast. That doesn't, I don't think, absolve you of the things that you're doing. It's like, I think some people treat the Bible like it's an instruction guide to heaven, which it's not. There's morality in the Bible. There's a lot of good stuff there, but it's not like an instruction manual in that sense. You can gain a lot from reading it. Of course, I'm not saying anything to lower the importance of it. It's just that I think the way we think about it, or the way some people may think about it, makes it almost like it's like something that we shouldn't question. We just follow. We just do, even though the Bible has many different authors, divinely inspired, but different authors from different time periods address different people for different purposes. So it always it's always strange when people bring up something out of the New Testament that address some things from like 3,000 years ago to group of people that don't even like exist anymore, and uses that as like something that's, I don't want to say irrelevant, but doesn't really apply to people of 2025 in, let's say, New York City or some random place in America or world or wherever. So I think the context, for everything that you read or learn is important. And so let me just tell you like why we fast, or at least why I fast when I do. So Wednesday is significant because that is the day of the week that Jesus was basically, when Judas um, went behind Jesus' back and betrayed him to the Roman officials. And Friday, of course, is the day when he was crucified, and you know, and he died on the cross. But then Sunday is like our Shabbat. Not that it is Shabbat. Shabbat is still, no, Sabbath. That's still Saturday, the day of rest, because that's when Jesus was, thought to be dead. And Sunday, of course, is the day of the resurrection. So Wednesdays and Fridays are more, I guess, like somber days in that sense. And those are the days why we fast. Now, the benefits of fasting, like if you look into it, there actually are like benefits to fasting, and I mean, think about it, like I said, if you do it strictly, like a strict fast, you're basically either like a pescatarian or like even a hard vegan, depending how strict you go. And generally that could be very good for many of us, especially in America, where like red meat's very popular, and we have a lot of like processed foods and foods that are high in calories and low in vitamins and other nutritious benefits. So being mindful of what you eat, and sacrificing, I guess, like those foods that are monkey brains, like to go for. It it can serve you health wise, and I think any activity or anything that makes you reflect and think about why you're doing something is beneficial. But as I said, there are exceptions, and there are people that use it to say like, oh, I fasted, I gave money to the church, I did this, I volunteered, etc. I'm a good Christian. Or my favorite one is, and this is just give like a brief story of when I was teaching. I used to teach philosophy a lot to my students, and for a while I talked about like morality, like different moral systems and stuff. And I remember one of my students saying that he was a good person because he didn't do anything bad. And I told him that, well, that's great that you don't do anything bad, which of course I don't know what that means. But I said like the absence of doing bad things does not mean you're actively doing good things, though. You know, so you could very well just be a neutral person, or maybe you do some bad things. Maybe you hurt people in ways that you may not be aware of. Like you may not do anything like uh, theft or unaliving people, but you may hurt people in other ways, without realizing it. So it's it's something to think about. I think we should be very I shouldn't say self-critical, but we should analyze our actions and the things that we do, and also to be moral. In my opinion, to be a good person is to be a very active person. And when I say active, I mean active in doing good. So going out of your way to help others, sacrificing maybe some of your own, monetary gains for others, um, using your time to help others, things like that. And I say help others. Again, I'm not talking about like just your church. I'm talking about people that are like in need of like food and clothing and shelter or job opportunities, things like that. So that stuff's a little harder. It takes a lot to get somebody who is you know um, in poverty, for instance, to get on their feet. I know I know people in such situations, and I've done my best to help, but at the end of the day, um, I don't have the economic means to save someone, to rescue them out of poverty. But if they're hungry, I feed them. If they're ailing, I try to help them. But I can only do so much, in the world we live in, where people are not the priority. Instead, the emphasis is on money. It's a little difficult to you know make such big changes without the economic means. So food's important. Starving yourself is not fasting. Um, Thinking about why we do things. Tradition on its own can have merit, but there are different kinds of tradition. Following tradition just because it's tradition without knowing why, or if it's actively a detriment to you, may not be the type of tradition you should follow. It's always good to be mindful about what you do, what you eat. And in the words of my spiritual father, you don't sin by what you put into your mouth. You sin with the words and the things that come out of your mouth. So if you meet on Friday, it's nowhere near as bad as calling someone like a slur or like a name or something that will hurt them. So just some food for thought, and yeah, that's really it. Hope you have a great rest of your day or evening, and I'll talk to you again soon. Goodbye. God bless.